I really just want to be like a genuine person, because I think you always want to be somebody else. You always want to recreate something, or you hate yourself so much you want to be something else other than what you are. And I think that my goal right now is to find the real person. You know what I'm saying? Like to sing the way you were intended to sing, to write about whatever, and to be truthful. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's what we were talking about before. It makes people uncomfortable, and you make people squirm in their seats because they can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll buy your record, and then they'll come back.
Hey, Jeremy, am I going to get this last name right?
Pinnell.
Man, I was going to get it right. Why didn't I just say it? Jeremy with 2 N's and 2 L's.
Yeah.
Awesome Americana/country music singer.
Yeah.
Writer.
Yeah.
Lover of all things. Yeah. No judgment.
Yeah.
Everybody's music's great. Chris Mueller.
Mueller.
Huh?
Mueller.
Mueller. Mueller. Like the spaghetti.
Damn,
son of a bitch. I had that wrong, didn't I? Your manager, boy, I tell you what. Also, you're the creator, founder of SofaBurn Records, a local recording studio, brand, artist, platform, everything. SofaBurn, 501c3, helping artists with, medical, insurance.
We help them with financial education, and we help them with subsidizing healthcare costs. Yeah.
Little did I know we were going to be sitting next to a billionaire today on the podcast. So, if he hadn't made it yet, he's on his way.
I'm at least a thousandaire.
What's going on?
Yeah, what's happened here? Right? Is this one of these traditional situations where you wake up one day and your bank account says 0 and his has 10 million in it? And what happened?
I'll let you in on a secret. I tell everybody this. Him and I have a joint bank account. I don't have a joint bank account with my wife.
This sounds like a marriage.
That's how much it is a marriage.
It's 2024.
So you guys have some fun shit going on. I want to get all this stuff out of the way, and then we can talk about real life, the journey here, what being a musician means to you and a manager. Because you know, good managers were musicians themselves. We just got done talking about the music you were playing like 50 and 60 years ago. And
easy.
But you guys you're back in town from the West Coast.
Yeah.
You did about 30 days out there. You're back in town to do a home place. It's funny, Southgate House Revival, they changed locations a few years ago.
They did.
Yep. And so you're playing there on the 29th and 30th. I think you're playing there for a 10-year anniversary of this awesome LP that's the original artwork right on the front of this thing. Was it called OHKY, Ohio and Kentucky?
Ohio, Kentucky.
Yeah. All right. I want to talk about what that meant, where that came from. Was this wasn't your original, your OG, was it? Was this it?
No, that was the cover on the CD.
CD? We didn't have vinyl.
We didn't. And we did a double vinyl with Shake It Records that had an acoustic record, and the artwork was completely different.
You know what? My producer back here, who's a musician himself, he said I'm not allowed to call it vinyls. I got to call it LPs. He yelled at me about 2 months ago.
He said vinyls with an S. Come on.
See,
vinyls.
Say what you want.
No, I didn't. He yelled at me.
I own a record label. Call it whatever the hell you want.
Thank you very much. What do you think about that, Dave?
It's a
Suck
write-off.
it, man. Here we go.
Vinyls does suck, though.
So, man, what's this journey been like? I sit back here, and Dave sent me an email about 3 months ago. He put me on the team. I always think every day we suck because we're trying to – remember what we said earlier? We're probably a lot better than we tell ourselves every day.
100%.
I just don't focus on what we've done in the past because I'm always trying to get better, trying to grow, trying to improve. But he sent me an email. He typed in AI, and I think it was like what's the exact question you put in AI?
It was something like top 10 or top 20 mindset people in the Cincinnati tri-state area.
You know who was number one?
Bob Castellini.
You're sitting in the studio.
Really?
Swear.
Dave?
And he just sent me the email about me and the podcast that we're doing. Isn't that wild, though? So, but there must be we haven't tried to make that happen. So we put in AI, that spit itself out. So what we do all day long is find out how the hell do we get here, with what mindset, with what philosophy, psychologically, how do we operate every day? Because there's a lot of people out here in this world that are trying to live a better life, trying to line up their life and their experience with the things they've dreamt of, and they look at guys like you, and they're like, they're living the dream. But I know there's a lot of story and a long road and a journey behind that. And see how you smiled?
Because it's ridiculous. They only knew.
Well, what if they only knew part?
I mean, we don't do anything different. Like we don't like we both. He works on a farm down in Falmouth.
Verona.
I've been working whatever, and I've been working out in in Burlington on 350 acres, taking care of the grounds for 10 years. It's the same thing. It's like when I don't have to go in, that I'll feel like, okay, maybe we're doing something, but it's the same thing. You wake up, you go to work, and then maybe you get some time off and you get to go work some more. And it's like that's it. There's, so with people, I don't know. Is there something better? I don't know.
I mean, you get to take months off and go play in front of people that like pay money to come see things that you've created. That's pretty good work.
I know, but I'm
hard
not disagreeing with that. I'm saying it's still just the same thing. It's like
it's a grind.
Yeah,
Is it maybe that you're actually on the journey towards living what most people think's the dream?
When you talk about it, it's I just don't see it in a different light. Because we've been doing the same thing, and it's like I don't know. I don't see it in a living the dream or doing anything. I don't get it. I don't get that. It's just like
what
you write music, you play music, you work. That's it. Growing up here, like most people in this area, that's what you do is you work, and you don't. You know what I'm saying?
Is this what you wanted to be doing though?
Playing music like this?
Yep.
Maybe it is. People do find what they want, but I think it always comes in a different way.
Let's go back 15 years. Go back 20 years ago when you had a guitar in hand. Would you have taken this life right now? Would you have said, I'll take that?
Yeah, 100%.
That's why they think you're living the dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I just think that so many people, because of lack of maybe belief or confidence or the self-esteem, they just haven't had the right things happen inside of them to make the decision to actually set out on the dream. Because here's what they're not taking away. You've put in the work. That's what you're getting at, too. You're like, man, it's not what I've always done.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting in the work. And I think that they're so far away from understanding that if they would set out on the journey the same way you did, they can have and be the same place you are. That's probably what you feel.
Well, I see a lot of other people that have like been more successful, and you go to these clubs across the United States and you see people that have been the same places that I'm in, and you see that and you're like, oh, I can do that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's like, yeah, you start to see the trajectory, you start to see the path open up, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because think about the flash in the pan happens that with like an Oliver Anthony or a Jelly Roll. We didn't even know about those guys 3 or 4 years ago. Someone did. You might have known them. People who played the circuits, but they just kept at their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep at it, I don't know, maybe that day is going to show up for you, for everybody else, but it doesn't have to, because what's important is, do you feel successful? Do you feel like you're getting to live the journey and travel in the road that you want to? And I think that's why so many people, man, when they say it looks like you're living the dream, because they're not even attempting or trying or even in the midst of doing the thing.
Well, I got to wake up at 4 this morning, and I got to go to the gym, and then I got to go to work. I got to work with a retired fireman from Newport. He was a lieutenant, and we got to, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's all great. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, life is good, but you don't we get to play music once in a while, but that's the real shit if you ask me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So you went to the gym this morning?
100%.
Doesn't look like it.
Motherfucker, let's go outside and find out. No, fuck you, dog. No, it doesn't look like it. But let's go hit the weight pile and see who's who.
I love it.
I will say, like, talking about what you're talking about, one thing we do, and he's not talked about it, is that we have to, when you're in music, you got to celebrate any victory you can, because it is a crushing crushing business to be in. It is just letdown after letdown after letdown after letdown, unless you hit a TikTok lick or something, you know what I mean? And so you learn in that business, you learn where to find things that are exciting to you and not just, you know, what might be the outward appearance. And we're having conversations now that are like you asked about 15 years ago, like the conversations he and I are having now compared to when we made that record, it's different, you know, like it's just different. And we are mindful of that. And you and I have some really good conversations recently about like, holy shit, like we never had ever thought we'd get here. We made a record 2 years ago. It's not out yet. And he got to work with a producer it was a bucket list item for you. And you said to me flat out, man, if I knew I was going to get to make a record with this guy, I would have told you I made it. I don't have to do anything else. Just the fact that we're making the record says that we did something right. You know what I mean? So we are way further along, but it just comes from, and you understand this, it just comes from consistency. And the reason I know from my end of things that we've made progress is the amount of people that I get reaching out to me. They think I'm a real music manager. People are like, man, Chris and Jeremy signed with Space Colonel and they're doing all this cool stuff. And I'm like, man, I didn't do anything. I get all these guys coming out to me, like young guys, even older guys. And they're like, you know, I play country and I got a band and I think I'd fit in well with Jeremy and I'd be able to, you know, if you could do for me what you did for him. And I'm like, you want me to do for you what you did for him? Go out and play 600 shows in 3 years.
Do what
and
he
then,
did.
Yeah.
Right.
You want that? Go play 200 shows a year for 3 straight years. And then let's talk. Oh, shit. Okay. Like they don't realize what he gave up to get where he's at.
My wife fucking hates me. I'm just kidding. No, it's good.
She must love you.
She does.
Yeah, because she wouldn't go through this if she didn't.
She's held down the fort 100%. Like, you know, someday she'll get
she'll get her payback.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when you let her paint the way she wants to paint.
Yeah, she can. You know, we argued about the way we were going to paint that room yesterday, and then about 1, 2 in the afternoon, I said, "You would just do it the way you want." You know what I'm saying?
Because it doesn't matter.
It don't matter.
Yeah.
You know.
Is that what we're getting better as we get older? The shit just doesn't matter.
It doesn't, but you know, sometimes it does.
It feels like it in the moment. Here's how I know you guys and your music, how you've put in a lot of time. We hadn't ever met before. I go back and listen to your 2014. I pulled up Spotify and listened to some stuff. You have some on there. There's been millions of listens. And I listened to the stuff from 2021. It's got a refinement. There's something there that's just more professional. You can tell there's time. There's an evolution of a commitment of wanting to do a better job. And so from me not knowing any of the terminology about what you guys do, that's what I feel over a 7 or 8 year period.
Also, you get better, and you what it is, and I'm glad you said that. What it is, there was a turn where I figured out the trick. One of the tricks is you can write about anything you want. You could sing about anything you want. Doesn't matter what genre you are. Like, you can just write. And there was a real switch that we were in LA and we were leaving a show, and we have this rule as a band that you don't say anything about the people or the club until you're 2 miles down the road with the windows up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we were outside the club, and there's beautiful women in LA. You know, there's beautiful women in Kentucky too. We all know that. But we were like, the women out here are beautiful. And someone in the van said, "Yeah, but they don't want babies." And we started cracking up, just being ridiculous. A bunch of dudes. We're all married, you know. And we made the joke that women back home here in Kentucky want to have children, the women in LA don't, you know. And I was like, oh, I can write a song. I can that, you know what I'm saying? And we were on our way down to Austin to meet a guy named Jonathan Tyler and to record some demos. And I came up with the idea for the song Goodbye LA. And then I wrote the first verse. And then it was like a day or two before we hit Austin, I wrote the second verse, and then we went in and did the demo. And then
sounds good.
I think it was like 6 months later or 9 months later, we went in and did the album, you know. But I don't know. I think you figure out as an artist, you know, who you really are. And I think that I'm still figuring it out. And I think that I really just want to be like a genuine person, because I think you always want to be somebody else. You always want to recreate something, or you hate yourself so much you want to be something else other than what you are. And I think that my goal right now is to find the real person. You know what I'm saying? Like to sing the way you were intended to sing, to write about whatever, and to be truthful. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's what we were talking about before. It makes people uncomfortable, and you make people squirm in their seats because they can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll buy your record, and then they'll come back, and then you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think I'm glad you picked up on that, because that was like a pivotal moment in like our career. You know what I'm saying? Shifting from Ties of Blood to Goodbye LA. It was it was a good moment.
Where do you hear the new one?
How long do we have to wait for this?
I don't know. As soon as these motherfuckers get busy, I'm out here
grinding. They don't give two shits about what you're doing.
They don't care.
My bed is comfortable.
Oh, this is some bullshit right here.
It comes up. It's got feet heat. He's got that trying to get in that van.
He's got that secret account. That's what he's got. He's got the secret account.
15%.
So, hey, why the heck do you manage this guy still?
That's its own podcast, but I'll sum it up. I get choked up talking about it. So this is the thing in my life that I care deeply about. I grew up around business, and in business, you got to take risks. But what I've learned is that you got to be willing to be accountable, and you've got to be willing to put it on your back sometimes. And when Jeremy and I didn't get along back in the day. We grew up in the same art scene. Can I say we didn't get along? I mean, there was a time maybe we didn't.
We just didn't.
Two big personalities that would cross paths, and it would, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But I started this record label because I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to tour full time. I wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. I really wanted that. That was my goal, was to be a touring drummer full time. That's what I wanted to do. And I started a record label because in the groups I was in, I got tired of being told no by the industry. So in 2006, I went out and I got an LLC and I trademarked the name, and I said, I'm going to be a record label. Screw it. Everyone said, you're nuts. I don't care. I'm doing it anyways. So I'm not a good businessman, because if I was a good businessman, I wouldn't be in music. People always say to me, and we talked a little bit about this beforehand, people say, how are you successful in business? I said, I invest in real estate. You want to have a successful business? You want to have a successful music career? Invest in real estate.
Man, it's like you were paid promotion.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Pivot Realty.
Yeah, let's go, right?
But anyways.
We just opened in Florida, just for the record, too. So
perfect.
We're in Nashville, got the Tennessee license. Let's go.
Perfect.
So how's this link? Yeah, how's this link up with like why?
Yeah. So the intention for SofaBurn was always just to put my own bands out, my own records. Like, that was it. Just to have it look like somebody was talking about me besides me. That's all it was. And him and a buddy his came alongside, and they were doing country music. They were playing country shows at Japs downtown. And they approached me and said, man, we think we'd like to do a record. Would you be open to doing a record that wasn't yours, that you don't play on? And I said, yeah, let's talk about that. And we had a few. Jeremy's got jokes about those days. I'd always show up with a notebook and not take any notes. I'd do all the talking, drink a bunch of coffee. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Look professional.
Look at me. Got my hat on and, notepad. And we made a record. And we put the record out, and we stumbled a little bit at first because we weren't sure how to do it. But then we got some PR attention, and some national people got a hold of it and were like, man, this is really good. Like, you guys should try. Oh, now we need a PR campaign, and now we need to book shows, and we need to go on tour. We need to push this record. And as this thing evolved, I wasn't always Jeremy's manager. I was the record label. I was just like, yeah, let's put this record out and see what happens. And as we went along this journey, it became very clear several years ago that he needed someone to handle the money. He needed somebody to oversee social media, to handle day-to-day, to book hotel rooms. I mean, everything needed to be handled because he's working full time and trying to make music and has a son and like all this stuff going on. And we had a few people kind of in and out helping out, but I just, to be honest with you, wasn't satisfied with what I was seeing. And I was like, you know what, Jeremy, correct me if I'm getting any of this wrong. Maybe your side of it's different.
You're good.
And I got together with my guys at the label and I said, I'm going to manage him. I said, I need the label to kind of do its own thing. I'm going to put all my focus on this guy. We're going to build the label around him because he's got what it takes to do it. And this is before really the second record was even out yet. It had just been made. And we decided this is the horse we're going to back. And I'm going to put a lot of eggs in that basket. And I'm going to personally oversee this because he wants me to. And he's asking me to. And I think it's the right thing. And it's the best business decision I've ever made in my life because every day I get off a phone conversation with somebody, I know I've got the right product. I know I've got the best product. I know I've got the hardest working product. And if you don't have a product you can't sell, you don't have much. And I believe with all my heart. I had a conversation with a distributor last week and they were looking at the numbers and we were just talking. And then he opened the floor for me to give my elevator speech. And at the end of the thing, he wanted to talk more because I know he can do it. If he puts a guitar in his hand and you put him in a room with 3 people, someone's crying every time. Because he knows how to go there. He really does. And, you know, did I see myself in this role when I started playing drums and I wanted to be a full-time musician? I didn't see myself being on the sidelines. I saw myself on stage. But this is way more gratifying to me than anything I've ever done because we get to share all the victories and we stick together when it gets hard. And it gets hard all the time. And you know this, like, it's not about who can sustain success. It's about who can get through it when the shit gets real hard.
Who keeps going, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
true. All it is, right?
And we've pep talked each other through a lot of real hard shit, both of us. You know what I mean? We were going to hang it up at one point, and we decided, you know, let's just see what happens. Mm-hmm. But it's been. We've grown the team. You know what I mean? We've got another person on the management team now. We've got an intern. We're looking at new agents right now. We've got a lot going on and it's just, we've grown together. I get asked to manage people all of the time. And I'm like, I'm not a music manager. I'm Jeremy's manager.
Yeah. You've got the stuff. No, I mean, it's just, I've been around for a while. I'm 20 years on this real estate thing now. And you can just tell, like, he's got the stuff to do what he's doing for you the same way you've got the stuff to play music. And so this is like a match made in heaven, as we say. And I hope whatever you guys want to achieve, I hope it arrives. Because this is good shit that you've got. You know it. Mm-hmm. You're not a man of a ton of words all the time. You put a guitar in your hand, you know that he's the real deal. I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, how lucky are you to have him?
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's weird that
you can have a guy care about you like that.
Well, it's weird. Like I heard someone say about like finding like their soulmate, and they were like, "Oh, their soulmates just." It was weird. They lived down the street and they grew up down the street. And you know what I'm saying? And it's like. It's funny because there's a whole world.
How's that the soulmate down the street?
Or how do you find friend? Like my first drummer, the guy that toured with me for years, right? It was just a chance that I met him, but it's the weirdest chance because he walked in and someone told me not to hang out with that dude, and we ended up being best buds. But like we ended up hitting the road for 8 years together, and it's like, what are the chances of that? What are the chances? You know what I'm saying? It's weird.
I think you end up finding, you see, if you go out and you talk to enough people and you shake enough hands, you play enough music with enough people, you meet your people.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he's my soulmate. I'm saying it's weird that I found a friend like that. And, you know, and vice versa. Me and him we have an honesty with each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have any other friendships like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows all my passwords. If I'm dying, he's going in and he's clearing my search, everything. You know what I'm saying?
Why is there a need for that?
I'm just
anyways,
kidding.
Next question.
No, I'm just being funny.
FBI's at your door tomorrow, dude. Here
question.
we go.
No, the FBI ain't
So
about
at the
me.
end of the day, he's got the key to the safety deposit box. That's what he's got.
I don't have any other friendships like the one we have. Like this has been the most honest friendship that I think I've ever had. You know, and Yeah, I know I trust this guy 100% with everything.
Yeah, I can tell you can too. It's rare you come across somebody that'll actually speak to another man, man to man, the way that he does, and have the appreciation and have like a type of like okay love between a couple guys that are strong like you, like the true appreciation for everything that you are.
Yeah.
No judgment. Doesn't care who you are, what you've done. Doesn't care about past. He's only trying to take you somewhere you want to be, and you guys do it together.
And we talk about, I mean, we speak about that. The one thing about Jeremy, he seems quiet, but like, it's weird talking about you in front
No,
of
he
him.
told me to F off when I said, oh, you went to the gym this morning. I know.
I know not to say shit about that. I know better.
Nah, just kidding.
I know. I love it.
I'm
man.
super competitive.
I love it.
We talk, I mean, but 90% of the things we talk about are our wives or our like fellowship with other people or like our struggles at work, or we talk about health a lot. We talk about it, you know, and that's like
It's real now in our mid to late 40s.
It really
isn't it?
is, man. We talk about our aches and pains all the time, you know, staying healthy on the road. That's a hard thing for a 47-year-old man, you know? And I think that, but he's talking about the things that we talk about and the honesty. And it's like, he's very good. Like from my perspective, having someone where I'm doing the shit work. I'm doing a lot of shit work. He's doing the hard work, but I'm doing the shit work. And I'm taking the no's and I'm negotiating things and I'm asking for more than I should. And I'm taking a lot of risks at my own expense, you know, a lot of times. And he is very good about speaking to that and saying, you know, man, I appreciate you so much. Thank you. And it's not just, hey, thanks for doing your job or thanks for that. Like we really have good, deep conversation about how we got here and how crazy it is that we get to have these conversations and do these things. It's a very, very unique relationship.
How hard, you were going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, and we're not scared to talk business, and we're not scared to talk money. We're not scared to talk about uncomfortable things. It's like, you know, and there's never been any, like, it's never been awkward because it's like, we understand. It's a good relationship.
It's a good relationship.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've overutilized this term friend in 2024. It's probably all the social media and stuff, and I'm like, no, that's an acquaintance, y'all.
Buds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's like the word friend should be something special, right? Just that, I don't know. Like true friends, the way I think about a true friend, I got like 3 or 4. The way that my brain sees it, right? And that's what set me off on is when you said it's just a good relationship, right? And that's how I see it. That you can be honest, you can say anything, even if you say something out of line, the other person's gonna look at you like "fuck you," and it's okay.
Oh, we've gotten arguments, and you know, he'll call me, give me a hard time. I'll call him, give him a hard time, but it's all good.
Yeah,
you know.
Yep. That makes it special because that's real life. We have emotions at times. How hard's the music business?
It'll crush you if you care about what you're doing. It'll hurt you, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb enough to keep doing it. I don't know, but like, I know that we've had so many things that were just like, you know, just so many people turning you down or whatever it is, and
a lot of people making a lot of promises.
I tell you what, yeah, it's but yeah,
from a not from a business perspective, but from like a business perspective, looking at artists, right? So it's hard to sell art. It's a straight. You're dealing with artists. Artists are not music. Artists are not business people. You know, Jeremy is. He owns his own business now. His business is Jeremy Pinnell Music LLC. Right? He owns his own business. Yep. You know, out of necessity. The CPA demanded it, but other than that, you're dealing with people that are fearful, are unsure of themselves, are incredibly talented, but don't know where to go. But in the music business, one of the hardest things to do is create a career where you're not willing, like he has to work full time and do music full time. Like that's a really hard thing to do. And most people cannot do it. And like I said, I get approached all the time by bands that are like, hey, we want to put this record out and do a couple weeks on the road. I'm like, if you want to do a couple weeks on a road, you're not ready for a record label. You know what I mean?
You don't want to do 2 years on the road.
Yeah, like, and that's like sort of our saying at SofaBurn is a lot of people ask us to make a full-time effort for their part-time product. And it's like it's hard. It's very hard, especially at Jeremy's level and a little bit down the line. to be full time because the money's hard. It costs a lot of money to do it. You know what I mean? It costs a lot of money to do it, and you're away from home a lot. And if you're not all in, there's this thing where when American Idol came out, people got this dream in their heads that they could just win a game show and be a rock star. And that's what a lot of people do. They're like, let's just make a record. And they don't realize, man, it's okay to make music and be a hobby. I'm a hobbyist musician now. I'm in a group and we just play local, and I'm happy as hell that I get to play my drums, but I know better than to be like, if we just are good enough and if we just get this record in the right hands, like that's not how it works. Like Jeremy has had to, and we as a team have had to force our way into people and create conversations. Like I was telling you about that distributor we were talking to last week. I had a conversation with them 7 years ago, and they gave me some things to do. So I called them back in 7 years. I said, okay, we got some things now. Well, their list has changed. So it's like, all right, but it's like, you got to play the long game and you got to be tough. And there's a grit about it that you don't see as much as I wish we saw as a record label, because it's really, really hard to push an artist that's doing it in their spare time.
Does all this take away from the satisfaction of playing the music some?
You know what? That's the only part I like. My favorite time to play music is at home by myself on the couch. Nobody's in the house. That's like my favorite time to play music, and I wish it could be like that, but it's not.
Do you think it can never be that way, right? Even the people making millions and millions, it still feels. I bet it feels like a job.
Definitely. I'm pretty sure Aerosmith doesn't want to play Dream On every night.
Yep.
But they're going to play it.
Yep. And usually, is it true that probably your favorite song is probably not the audience's favorite song?
Yeah, 100%.
Doesn't link up, does it?
No, but whatever. I don't mind playing the songs. I don't mind it.
What's good about standing on stage?
What's good about it? I like having a good band. That's my favorite part of being on stage, is having a good band and knowing that the band is just tight. You do 3 weeks on the road and you get up there with the band and it sounds like the record. And that's what I like. I don't know how many times we've opened up for people, or people have opened up for us, and they're like, how are your vocals so clear? How is the band so tight? It's like, for me, that's it. Whatever's going on in the crowd, I don't really care. I'm enjoying being with the band. I like my friends. I like cutting up. You know what I'm saying? I like joking around. That's the
You
fun.
like going to the gym?
Yeah, you got to take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I think I just got called out.
Got him.
So wait, when you're up there, do you get in a zone though? When you're on the stage, and if it's about, is there times where you don't even feel the audience?
Yeah. Those. I think the longer you play, the more you get there. A lot of the time, I am listening to the band, and I'm listening to them make mistakes, and I'm listening to different things happen that didn't happen the night before, and I'm listening to things I like and things I don't like, and I'm paying attention the whole time. I think the moment you start to think about the crowd, I think that's the moment you lose it. And I think the best way is just to be yourself, like that's it. Yeah.
I won't ask the question, who is Jeremy? He'd probably come across the table and throw that bottle at me or something, or stab me.
I don't know who I am.
That's what it would be, right?
I just don't know.
It's like,
Who
no
am I?
shit, right?
It's like,
Those tattoos got to mean something. Am I allowed to go there? I mean, when a guy's got some face tattoos.
yeah. I've always liked face tattoos. I've always liked it. And I got older and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be a doctor. Like, this is it. Like, I might as well do things I like. I might as well express myself, art, whatever. And what I figured out is that tattoos don't have to mean anything. Get whatever you want. Get the pizza tattooed on you, because it don't matter. You don't need to be like, oh, this is for my great-great-grandma that, like, who gives a shit?
She was sweet, though.
Bro. Anyways, yeah, just like, I like art. I like aesthetic. I like music. I like it all. I like painting. So it's like, yeah, they don't mean anything. Some of them do.
But we won't talk about those.
I mean, whatever.
I'm looking at the shirt too. Sometimes people's shirts mean something. I don't know if that's just what you pulled out of the top of the drawer today or no.
My friend Bobby made this shirt. There's this venue out in Tulsa, Oklahoma, called the Mercury Lounge, and he booked there for years. And he has a T-shirt company, and he made the shirt says "Straight Edge Till Payday," and I thought that was killer. You know what straight edge is?
No, tell me.
It's people that don't drink, don't smoke. Some of them don't eat meat. Some of them vegan, whatever. And it's, you know.
What are you saying about us?
I'm saying you're a piece of shit. No, I'm saying, no, it was just a cool shirt. Like, you know.
Straight edge.
Till payday.
Just till payday.
That means.
And then once the money's there.
You ain't got money during the week.
Yeah.
You gonna party on the weekend.
So build a wife so you can party every day.
Ooh, I don't know. I like to take it easy, dude. I ain't got much more partying in me.
Did you have
My
a lot?
partying is chilling. I like to, you know, like the older I get, 8:30 bedtime. Yeah.
How do you think a guy like Willie Nelson still's grinding on the road at his age? And I don't know music the way you guys do in the business, and that guy's out there putting it down.
I saw him at 89, and I heard people say, "Oh, he's just gonna mumble through his words. It's not gonna be that great." And we went and saw him at Riverbend with ZZ Top, and it was one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. And he was 100% tip top. He left the stage and came back multiple times. Did not want to get off the stage. And I think about that, like Merle Haggard. I also had another realization. He was playing a casino in Indiana, and I was like, I'm not gonna go. I'm just gonna stay in. Saturday night, I lived by myself, and it was like a month later, he passed away. You know what I'm saying? So you always go to the show. So when Willie Nelson was 89, somebody said, go see Willie Nelson. I was like, I'm going to go see Willie Nelson. But I think about that. What am I going to want to do that? I don't think so. But you never know. You know? I don't know. I'm 47. I mean, whatever. I don't know if I want to be in a van when I'm.
If you want to, you will be.
Well, the thing about Willie Nelson is he's not in a van.
100%. I think if you're comfortable, I think it'd be all
He's got a nice $1 billion bus or whatever
He's
riding
doing
around.
okay.
Yeah.
I went and saw Iron Maiden right before COVID, because the same thing now. It's like if I want to see someone I've never seen, time's running out. I had tickets to see the Stones. COVID hit, and then Charlie Watts died. And I'm like, damn, I'm never going to see the Stones.
That was the one guy to see.
You know what I mean? That's who I wanted to see. And I went and saw Iron Maiden, and it's their original lineup. And I have never seen a wilder show. I've never seen anything like, and I've seen a lot of shows. And I went and saw Iron Maiden at Riverbend, and these guys are 70, and they're just running across the stage. Every single song, all of them. Wardrobe changes. I mean, it's crazy. Now, I think they spend most of their day getting ready for the show. I mean, they're eating right. They got personal trainers, but still, you see it and you're like, oh, these guys are serious. This is not just let's go rock out. This is their craft. This is what they do.
The serious part is, that's the approach they took in the beginning, and that's why they're where they are.
That's right.
I hear some people sometimes man, don't take things too serious, and I'm like, hold on, let's hit the brakes on that real quick. When somebody says don't take yourself too serious, it's well, let's break that apart. Do you not want me to take myself serious, or wife? Because here's what I'm going to tell you. Wife is serious. That doesn't mean you can't have some fun. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy sitting on the couch and playing a guitar to yourself and singing. But it's serious, because you're not going to see Merle Haggard. That wasn't serious? Boy, you'd go take it more serious if you had a chance to.
Yeah.
Right? Life is serious, and it doesn't mean that you have to hate it and it be miserable and uptight all the time. But everything in part of my life, it's serious. And so for people that man, don't take yourself so serious, it's well, I want to laugh and cut up and have fun, but I know that if I don't take some intentionality with every part of my life and try to get better and do well and work towards this dream and this hope I have for myself, because it's not just me, it's people in your band. How I heard him talking about you earlier, I'm just damn, a dude sitting here talking that's pressure. Even if you don't feel it, the way he believes in you, and he's man, he's got it. I knew this was the thing to go all in on. I think you're a guy that knows where to put that, but it's like, damn, man, like that's respect. That's pressure. That's expectations. And people in your band.
Well, I think Chris would agree. Like, if we would have stopped years ago, like, I think we would have been okay. And I think if we were to stop right now, he'd be okay too. I think we fulfilled our commitment with each other, like, as far as like where we wanted to go in our music career. You know, like, it's always getting better and there's always more things happening, but like, we've accomplished a whole lot, a lot more than a lot of people have accomplished. And and I think with taking things serious, like, it is serious, but in the entertainment industry, like, you can't afford to be serious. You really can't. You just can't. I mean, and that's what's really good about like, just the work ethic, like the idea of, like, there's been times I come off the road and I don't ever want to play music again. I hate it. And I've come home from playing festivals and I hate it. And I'm like, I'm so sick of it. It is the most demeaning thing. Like, it's just, it'll break you down. But I think the work ethic, like, you know, you heal up and then you go back out and do it again. But like, in the entertainment industry, if you take yourself serious, like, nobody wants that.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you like these types of conversations, be sure to follow The Necessary Entrepreneur on your favorite platform so you never miss out on future content. Explain that to us. Go a little deeper here.
If you get on stage and you want the crowd to act a certain way, you've lost. And you just got to go have a good time. You cannot, like, in art and music, you got to just give it away. You can't expect anything from anybody. You can't create in a space like that. You can't.
Here's what I think, to actually connect the dots here. Like, I like to disagree, but I think we agree. Because what I'm saying is when you get on stage, you better take giving, and tell me if I'm wrong, you better take that serious about that job, that role, that commitment, you trying to be great. If nobody cheers for you, F them. They don't cheer for you. But you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I know every day when I get up that people that get around me, I like cutting up. I like bullshit with some people, right?
Yeah.
I love, like, joking around. But, man, right before that and right after that, whatever I'm doing, I'm giving it everything I've got.
100%.
And so I think that's the serious I'm talking about.
For sure. You do have to get to a spot. When we just did this last record, I had to go in with players that I like, somebody I respected for years. And I was like, I'm never going to, like, I can't believe I'm in the studio with this guy right now. But you know what? Like, I'm going to sing, and I don't care what they think. I don't care how I don't care what people think about the way I sing. I'm just going to give it everything. You know what I'm saying?
There it is.
And I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, if you're an artist, you're constantly reviewing yourself, constantly looking at yourself, constantly putting yourself up against other people. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what you're doing. You know, you're constantly judging yourself. And
you think
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's like, you can't be serious. You can't, who cares? There's nothing to get. I was going to buy a car a few years ago, right? And Chris was like, let me go with you because I don't care if we get the car or not. And I was like, and it clicked in my head. It's like, I don't care if I get anything. That's not what it's about. Like, music, art, it's not about getting anything. It's not about getting anywhere. It's about creating. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Am I off on a...
No. Here's what's good. Here's what happens. Like, this is what people aren't willing to do. They're not willing to have an honest, real conversation and just take it wherever it goes. Everybody wants to end at this place where they have to agree with people, and it's like, no, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay if Jeremy's perspective is different than mine, because what happens as you talk and you work through it, there's probably some shared truth somewhere that evolves and comes out.
I don't, and I have no problem with conflict. Like, we like that.
Yeah.
So it makes for good.
Yep.
It's good. It's good for us to
Are we
disagree.
having a conflict?
No, it's
'Cause I didn't
good.
even
No,
realize
we're
that.
having a
So,
conflict.
you know-
This just got
you guys
super
wanna fight?
awkward.
No, so no, you
guys wanna
probably
fight?
no. You've been in the gym. You're gonna whoop my ass, right? He's gonna pull some UFC shit on me. You just got done watching
just
Tyson
kidding.
and Jake Paul or whatever his name was. You'll probably bring out some prime drinks or something. No, I mean, but here's what: it's not conflict, but most people in the world now can't handle even somebody disagreeing or taking a different perspective, and that's what's happened. I don't care who's a Democrat or Republican or what religion. I don't care. The problem is people can't handle that. They only want to hang around with people that totally agree with
That's
them. And
right.
It's effed up is what it is.
I think so. What Jeremy's saying that I know about him, that I know about us as a team, is like he's talking about being serious, but you want to talk about like not taking yourself too serious. He's asked me to play drums for him before. I will not do it. I will not.
He's going to critique the fuck out of you, and he's going to throw you off stage.
I don't want to get that look.
Yeah.
I know how serious he is about that. I know the expectation.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, it is.
I expect everybody to do a good job.
Like
So you're serious.
He's making it sound like he's on stage.
Right.
Just, I like to feel the music and stuff, but there is a high. Like the guy, we fly his drummer in for every tour because he's the guy that we expect to show. He sings all the backups, and there's an expectation. You know what I mean? Like the craft, there's a very serious part of it, and he takes it very seriously. And I think the one thing that you mentioned earlier that really stood out is he's talking about being serious and just having a good time. But it's in this business, if you don't know who you are, it will eat you absolutely alive. And that's what I think. One of the things I love about this project is that I've got a group of musicians who, whether there's 2 people in the room or whether they're playing a sold out stadium, they're getting the same show because they know who they are. They're not letting outside factors control it. Like I said, he's just as good in a room, probably better in a room with 2 people than he is in front of 1,500 people.
When you say going on the road, when you're like, man, I come off the road sometimes, I'm just done playing.
Mm.
What causes that feeling?
I don't know. I guess you wonder why you're doing it. Yeah, it's like
it's a business part. People trying to put you in a box. Don't put Jeremy in a box.
Don't put baby in the corner. No, I don't know, dude. You just get so wore out, dude, and I think you get so high on the road, like being in a new place, sleeping different places every night, and you get off the road and like I like being home right now, dude. I like it. I'm waking up and just going to work and just doing my thing.
What do you do on the farm? You talked about working on the farm. What do you do?
I do everything. I bush hog, mow, whatever, any kind of labor work, whatever needs to be done. But I don't know.
The simple wife.
Yeah, but then he'll play 2 shows Thanksgiving weekend, and the next week he'll be in Philly, Cleveland, and play a sold out show in Queens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not your typical farm life.
Yeah.
So humble though.
But that feels like, look at him. But it feels, he's like, what? Now, see, he's putting you in a box, right? Here we go.
No, it's true though. Like, but the thing is like, I would love to play music and write full time, like, but until the moment I'm doing that, then people that think that, hey, Jeremy, you're really doing it. I'm like, all right, okay, dude. Okay. Come do this.
Right.
See if you really want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to like wake up at 4 and then work all week, do that every day, every week, and then go out and hang out till 1 or 2 in the morning on the weekends playing music and then go home and do it again? Like, it's like, I don't.
That's why they don't. And I think the tough part for you being a manager, boy, they all want to, don't they? And they think they want. They just can't even comprehend what the hell it's going to take. And you can tell them, and they're like, "Yep, let's go. I'll sign up for that. That sounds a 2-month tour. Let's go." And then 2 days in, you're like, "Wow, this was a mistake."
After a week.
Yeah. So this Europe thing, you're going to Europe as well.
I hope so.
Europe going to be able to handle you, man?
We've been over there before.
Be his 3rd time, 4th time.
4th time, 5th time, mate. 4th time,
Yeah.
4th time.
How's that happen? Is it a month? What is it?
No, he just got booked for a festival over the weekend. And then what we'll do is we book the festival and they're going to fly him over full band to do the festival. And then we'll look at doing some dates around it. So we'll call some promoters, maybe in Scandinavia, or we got a good promoter in England. We'll call them and say, hey, we're going to be over there. Can we put a couple days together and get a good promoter involved? Maybe one of the bands on the management side of things is already going to be over there and we can link up for some shows. Maybe there's a larger artist we can link up and do some support gigs. We'll just look at what's out there and decide, are we just going to play this festival or are we going to spend some time over there? It just depends financially what makes sense and time-wise, and also what we have cooking here in the States.
Mm-hmm. Because they're already flying you on their dime. Why not take advantage of it, right?
Well, the thing is, like, they're real savvy to that over there. So they'll give you 2 different contracts, and they'll say, if you're willing to play just this show, we're going to give you, 8,000 more euro or 10,000 more euro to fly you over and fly you home. But if you're going to be over here on tour, we're not giving you that because you're going to be over here anyway. Because they don't really want you anywhere near their show. They want to promote their show. So it's a game. I wish I was a lawyer. I'm not.
Right. But you know enough of it now.
Well, I've stepped on a lot of landmines.
I bet you have, right? That's what gets you here at 40-something years old, and you understand, like, hey, where do we walk?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they'll do that around here. They'll do that if you play a local festival around here. They'll, what is it called? The clause, the
proximity
clause, where you can't play
within 50 miles or 100 miles or something.
like 3 weeks before, 3 weeks after. So I get it,
but they're way more willing to like fly you over there. Like here, the spending is different here. You know,
it's like here's $20 for gas.
Yeah,
here maybe.
I mean, I remember 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, we started putting hotel rooms in our rider, and I remember thinking, oh, this is a real thing. Like, and they started doing it. And I was like, well, that changes the game completely. You don't realize how much that changes the game when the club's paying for the hotel rooms.
Cost you nothing to get there then.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have some friends who speak. They're national speakers, and they'll get paid. It's kind of a similar thing. I mean, but they're paid to go speak at a convention. And depending on the tier, it's how much you get. Like this tier's $1,500. This tier's $3. This is $5. This is $10. Keynote might be $75K. And they're all given 45 minutes, right? And what I found with some of these guys I'm friends with, when you don't ask, you don't know. And so they started doubling their ask.
Yep.
From $2,500 to $5,000, right? And then all of a sudden, they're like, what? I'm like, ask for 10.
Mm-hmm.
Keep on asking until they say no. And then when they say no, you understand what your market value is then. And then you can reevaluate some things. And then I'd say, well, you're not willing to give us a 10. We might not come for 5, but what do I need to do so next year I can come for 10?
That's right. We broke through when we started getting uncomfortable. We broke through. Like when we started doubling the cost of a t-shirt, we're like, wait a minute, we're spending all this time making these t-shirts. They're great design.
They're $25 now, y'all.
Why are we not selling them? We're selling them for $12. People should buy them. We bumped them to 25 and we can't keep t-shirts.
That shit doesn't make any sense, does it?
Perceived value.
Yeah, it
you
is.
know, but it's also worth that.
Yeah. What'd you smile about, Jeremy?
Nothing. Can't be saying that stuff online.
The stuff that went to his head.
What I just said? Why can't
whatever.
people know that? I mean, that's not, you're worth that money, but that's the thing. We're worth that. Like, we should ask for that.
Yeah.
They should pay that.
The only difference usually, because I listen to your music, like it's pretty good, and I'm critical as hell. Like if I thought it was shit, I wouldn't say it was shit, but I wouldn't say that I liked it. When you guys came in, I put Spotify on, just let it keep playing. So I was on the fourth or fifth song, and every once in a while I'd be like, man, it's pretty good, right? And so there's not really a difference between you get to this point, and I listen to a song that somebody's played 4 million times on Spotify, and somebody that's had listened 20 million times. There's not that much of a difference, right? There's not, and it's a brand, it's an awareness, it's somebody that they perceive value. Explain this to me about the music business. In the world of business, we can make a business plan, and we'll make a 3-year business plan, a 5, and a 7. And what I found is you normally never achieve the level of success that you have aligned with that year within the exact time frame, but you're somewhere along the journey. But what I've also seen is as long as you keep going, you'll eventually get there. Your 5-year, it might take you 7 or 8. And in my, like for real estate, for example, I could take pretty much any human that's smart enough to pass a real estate exam, pass an FBI background check, and pass a real estate exam. There's a lot of people that do it. 78% of the people fail out of our business in 18 months. But I could take every single one of those people, and if they pass that exam and they pass that background check, if they did the things I told them to do over 12, 18, and 24 months, there's a direct correlation with where they're at right now and where they're going to be. Can you do that in the music business?
I think in certain controlled situations, yeah. I think we're just so, we just didn't know. We didn't know the path. We started out, we didn't know, this has been just learning the entire way. I think now we're starting to zero it in, and it's starting to become like, oh, we can do this and this and this, but it's taken a lot of mistakes and it's taken a lot of learning. And I think Chris said something. What was your dad told you? Always surround yourself with
People that
who-
are more capable than you.
yeah,
Yeah, let them do
And-
their jobs.
and I think we're both starting to let people do that, and like we're starting to see some progress, and it's, but
Somebody's got to wrangle the cats, though.
but I think in certain situations, like people like like some more well-known artists, I think there's definitely been like, hey, this we'll just take this plan and put it on this artist, and we'll just follow this, and it works.
Does it, or yes? Does it work?
It depends.
See, that's a question I'm asking.
What I'm saying in certain businesses,
Okay.
and like if you want to go to a music city,
Yeah.
I'm not naming which one, but they have certain outlines that artists can follow, and there's a direct path, or a direct, in our genre of music, and plus with us not really knowing, like like having a direction, kind of just bumming around. I think we're starting to figure it out. Like, I think now we're starting to be like, okay, this is the direct. There's a way to it.
There's a direct correlation from where I'm at to where I want to be.
I think the hardest part's been done, and I think that's I think it's like that in a lot of businesses. The hardest part's the beginning.
Yeah,
You know what I
because if
mean?
I can plug your name into Spotify,
He'll show
and I
up.
hadn't listened to your music before, and it shows up, and on top there's one that somebody's listened to 4 million times.
Yeah.
You guys have figured the part out.
Yeah, there's 100,000 monthly listeners. I
Yeah.
mean, it's and that's just I still feel like we're starting. Like that's my thing. Is like
You know what Jeff Bezos says? You're probably not a guy that loves a Jeff Bezos.
I don't hate him. Like, dude, he started from nothing.
You know what?
Like, whatever.
Do you know what his attitude is every day with his people? It's what they name the road at CVG. That's Amazon airs their Prime. It's their hub. Do you know what the address is? What the street name is? Day One Boulevard. He tells all of his people, and he has from day one, we need to operate inside this company as if this is the first day of our company. And that's how we need to hustle. That's how we need to grind, and that's how we need to.
excitement.
That's a massive mental mind shift from most folks. No matter how successful you get, right? We're grinding this thing from day one.
Yep.
It's an incredible. So I think what you're talking about, just figuring, it's like, well, we feel like we just figured it out. I think you need to keep that
For sure.
because you're going to be innovative. You're going to approach it with grit and stuff every day. What do you think about it?
I think that gratitude. I think just feeling grateful for what you like, just the opportunities that we do have, and like, just really, just that for me, that's it. Like, I'm grateful I got this guy. I can call this guy. He calls me usually with some good news, sometimes with some bad news. You know what I'm saying? But we got a good tour van. We sunk some money into it. I got a good band, good group of guys.
We can afford to buy merch now. We can afford to fix the van.
Yeah, my players aren't the best players, but I hope they hear this. I'm just kidding.
His band
They
is,
would laugh.
His band is
They would
awesome.
laugh.
His band
But
is awesome.
no, I think
You know why you guys are at a place? So I sit here a lot, and I talk to people in a lot of places. Most people have done some successful things. They've either accomplished a lot or they're right in the midst of it, and they're doing this. Like this part you just touched on about just being appreciative. The reason why I know as far in as much time as you've actually put into this business, you can call it music. It's a business at the end of the day. What you guys are trying to run now, it's a business. And so I know you're like, unfortunately, it fucking is. But
no, I like personally, like I know it's that.
yeah,
But that's why he's there.
that's it. Yep. So, but what I'm saying is the stuff that you said about having the gratitude for what you have. Here's how I know that if you guys keep going and you put the pedal down just a little bit more because it's down, if you do, it's going to hit big at some moment. Whether you want, it's going to, because I know all the work that you've put in to get here, and you put in the time, and you're sitting here saying, I'm appreciative of it all. I still have gratitude from where I'm at. To have that mindset in this seat where you fucking earned it, that's a special place to be. It is. Because when you start taking it for granted and feel like you deserved it, you can't connect with the real world, you're not still willing to put in the time. If you guys keep going, and you're fortunate enough to have the health and another year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, there'll be some bigger stuff. And there'll probably be a moment where this is what you'll be able to do.
Mm.
It feels like it just being around you guys that could happen.
I've been on the road with some guys where the rider doesn't get filled or the pay is not what it is, and it's so unattractive, dude. It's so unattractive. And it's like I don't want to be around people like that, and I don't like. I'm just lucky to be there. I'm getting on stage and somebody's paying me. That's crazy, dude. Like, who plays somebody to or pays somebody to play their guitar and sing? That's insane, dude. So
when there's so many other options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to answer a question you asked earlier, because I think about it a lot. You said, is there like I'm paraphrasing, but is there like a thing you can just plug it in and just, here's the process. If you do this, this will happen. And I think in music, especially nowadays, it's rare that like a crappy piece of music comes across my desk. Like, it's very competitive because people have access to good music and writers' workshops, and people really do put the time into making the music. And so I think there is a process, and I think it's different for everybody, and it's different for genres. And certain parts of the country will tell you different. LA is different than Nashville. You know what I mean? And Austin and all these places. But I can tell you that eventually, if the product is not good, people find out, you know, because eventually you're on stage. And if you have a great record and you can't play your guitar or you can't sing, people find out. And like you talked about that song that's got almost 5 million plays on Spotify. It's never been on a placement. It's never been in an ad. It's never been on a TV show or a movie.
Is that like 1892 or something?
Ballad of 1892.
Yeah.
Everything that we've done up to this point is grassroots, him going out and earning fans one at a time, one room at a time, one city at a time. We've never had a break. Like we've had people help us, but we've never had like, okay, we got the Toyota commercial, we're good. We've never had that. Like, we just keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
When you said earlier, there was a moment when you guys maybe were almost done. Why'd you keep going?
that was a couple years ago.
It was.
It was very recent. It was after the pandemic. Everything soaks. Hotels, gas, hardly afford to travel. You'd have clubs cancel on you. Just if they heard the word COVID, they would cancel. And I was just burnt out, dude. I was burnt out. I wasn't taking care of myself, and it just didn't look good. And I don't know. I was in Cleveland, and somebody asked me if there was a producer I wanted to work with, a dream producer, and I'd name someone, and they said, "Oh, I know that person, and I know their manager. How about I email them?" And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then somebody that we know knew that producer, and they sent an email. And then I was touring with a guy who was playing bass with me, and talk about friends. We talk about friends. He, I don't mean to go off, but he played bass, and he took the time. That's the thing. Like, when somebody gives you a leg up, like, that's a friend, you know? And, but he knew somebody that knew that producer. So he went there. And then I knew a guy in LA that said, "Hey, we had the," you know, and then it just started to snowball. And eventually we got the opportunity to work with this guy. And he was, I don't know if you want me to say this, but like, he was talking about closing up his end of the deal, and I was talking about closing up my end of the deal. We're just
hard to run a record label when nobody can tour, nobody can leave their house.
And it was
So why'd you keep going?
That was one of the hardest conversations we've had. I remember it vividly. I remember where I was sitting on my front porch, and we had it because it was the first time where we were both struggling at the same time with it. Like, we've had some real hard conversations in the last decade plus, but it's usually like, man, I'm burned out. Like, all right, take some time off. We'll regroup. Or me being fired up, like, man, screw this. And Chris, calm down. Like, but it was at the exact same time. It was the first moment that we'd ever been like having a serious talk about, why are we doing this?
You know what it was, to be exact? And I'll tell you, it was, we both decided, I'm going to start.
That's where I was going with it.
Yeah, I'm just going to do whatever I want. And that's when the doors started opening.
Got better.
100%.
Once we
it was
decided
almost night and day.
We were willing to, we were to that place where we were like, let's stop taking the shit. Like, let's stop grinding out the shit that we don't want to do anymore. And let's only take the things we want to do. And things got better immediately.
And I was like, I'm not playing. I'm not,
yeah.
You know, like, I'm just going to do what I want.
I'm not going anywhere I don't want to go. I'm
Yeah.
not going to write a song. I'm not going to sing a song I don't want to sing.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if I can't if I can't do better leaving my house, working at the farm, if I can't do better than that, I don't want to do it. And everything got better immediately because we got picky.
And I think that's the key.
It is. Know what you're worth.
Would that have worked if you would have known to do that a decade ago?
I don't know. That's scary.
No,
Probably
I think
not.
we had to put in the time, and I think it goes back to what you're saying. Like the reason why I think a big part of it is why we're still grateful is that we know that we've been in the ditch, we've been digging, and we've been digging, and like in 2019 I did 136 days on the road, and it's always been that way.
And that's with a bunch getting canceled towards the end.
And dude, I would have to pay my band at the end of the week. We'd be on the road and I'd see their faces fall because that's what I could give them. And you'd be like, fuck this. I ain't never doing that. Like I would tell my wife what we made that week and it would kill me, dude. Like it would kill me.
Those were dark
You go
times.
home with $200 in your pocket and tell your wife, I just spent $500, but here's a $200 check. It's like, and people don't see that, and
For 2 weeks of work.
and I don't know, but now, we just do what we want, and it's
better.
100%.
And you're smiling and you're frowning more than you ever have.
I used to have to be the one. He'd say, all right, man, it's Monday. Can I do payouts? And I'd have to look at the numbers and I'd be going through, bills and having to save money because I know we're going to get some expenses coming up and I'm putting money away and I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, oh my God, how do these guys do it? Like, I'm in awe of it. I'm in awe of like, here's the payout. And he would be like, all right, man. And he would be in the van with them and have to have the conversation. Like, this is what we got for the week.
Well, you can always tell the professionals from the people that aren't, because the people that are professional don't even blink,
Well, we're lucky enough that we've had some people on the project that saw the vision.
Mm-hmm.
Like that drummer that we fly in, he used to be, he's been with us a long time. And several years ago, he came to us and he said, you guys, I've got to pay some bills. I can make more money teaching at home. Like I need to step away. But when you get here, call me. And it wasn't unreasonable. He wasn't being a jerk and he wasn't abandoning us. He was saying, I'm worth this now.
Here's my value.
Yeah. I appreciate that more than anything in the world.
Now,
don't be a dick about it.
Yep.
Just be like, man, I want to do it. And we circle back. Then he's like, all right, now I see what's happening. Like, okay. You know what I mean? He gets to do some pretty cool stuff now because he wasn't a jerk about it. He just stepped out and was like, call me when you can get here. I just need you here. And we weren't there.
Plus he's good.
He's really good. He
Real
played on that track on Ballad of 1892, Ties of Blind Affection. On that record, he played drums. On the polished record that you were talking about, Goodbye LA, he was the bass player. He can play bass. He can play drums. He's the backup singer. He's a good guy.
Just talented.
Good guy to have in the van.
Hey, when you played back in the day, because now he's just a manager, he don't play no music anymore. So
I mean,
hey, what's it feel like when you're all done and they're calling you back out? Do you want to go? Do you want to go? Do you want to go back out?
Yeah, I think that whole thing's unnecessary, but yeah, I mean, it's, I get it. It's cool,
We just want more of you, man.
and he doesn't force it. That's the worst. I was at a show the other night and they came out. Nobody was clapping for more because they had played a long time and they wore us out and they left us there for like 3 minutes and then came back, but nobody was clapping. I was like, you shouldn't have come back. Like,
yeah.
nobody wants that.
Nobody wants, like, clubs will ask for 90 minutes, and that's just too long. An hour's perfect. If you're solo by yourself, half hour, 45 minutes. That's the key. And it's just like, leave on a good note. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
No such thing as a bad short meeting.
Don't retire too late.
Yeah,
A lot of
just-
people retire
right.
too late, man.
Just get out of there.
Yeah. What's your favorite crowd to play in front of? Like, how many people? Like, what's yours? Everybody has a different feeling about this.
Dude, I love a small bar room. There's this bar and there's this venue in Little Rock, and it's called the Whitewater Tavern. And my buddy Matt runs a place with a bunch of other good people. And It's a small club. A lot of people play there. Sound's always good. It's always good vibe. It's just a small room. People are packed in. I like a small room. I like a bar, you know? Like, I like joking around. I like playing long sets. I like just playing whatever I want. I like, you know, yeah, I like a small bar.
You can feel the folks.
You just want to, like, I would rather go to Waffle House than I would a 5-star. You know, you just get like
that 5-star's good every once in a while, though.
Well, sure, I get that,
but not all the time.
I get that, but if I want to feel comfortable,
Yeah.
I feel like a turd in a punch bowl at a 5-star. At the Waffle House, I feel like a fucking king, and like that's where I want to be. You know, like I get that. You know, whatever. That's just where I like being.
Yeah.
I like a small bar.
How many people are packed in there? 75 people, or
Maybe.
Yeah.
100.
Yep.
It's killer. You're packed in there with people. See them dancing. You know,
Feels good.
oh, feels great. You know.
What's
I like it more when there's 1,500 and it's packed. That's
Well, he likes it because I can afford to pay my band. You know.
Of course, leave it up to the
I'm a
business
bigger fan of
manager,
that.
right?
But the club he's talking about takes great care of their bands.
Okay. Yeah.
It's-
You must drive extra purchasing of things to drink in that place, because you know the reality is there's business behind this. People got to come out. They got to pay. They have to have drinks. They got to get something to eat. There's business behind this thing.
Jeremy and I had a fun conversation last year when we were putting the LLC together. I was like, you have an economy around you.
Yep.
People making T-shirts. People. I mean, he's got a tour manager. He's got 3 people on his management team. He's got a record label, and then he goes to a club, and there's 30 more people involved. Like there is an economy that happens around a song that he wrote. It's really like, when you think about it, it's pretty amazing to be like, oh, he wrote some songs, and now there's an entire economy around it.
Yep. What do you think? Because here in a minute, I think you're going to play a couple songs. Over the
yeah,
studio.
actually, about that. Yeah, sure.
What about that?
We got to find a guitar.
We have to
I
break
forgot
out your
my
ovation,
guitar.
Perk.
Well, I got.
I got a piece of shit Ovation that's supposed to be a hookup. It has new strings on it. I bet it sounds like shit, but I got it.
I bet you I'll make it sound good.
I got it. You can see.
All right.
He's like, don't have him do it.
No, he showed up in the parking lot, and I was like, where's your guitar? And he just went like that. And I was
You're
like,
going to make this thing sing, aren't you?
Yeah.
I haven't picked it up forever. Sitting beside, I have a little massage chair in my office that when I work.
Of
these
course
50
you do.
Yeah, these
Of
15,
course you
16,
do.
18-hour days.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to get a break sometimes. I mean, you working on a farm. Sometimes you come home, your ass is
You can
whooped,
always
isn't it?
tell when dudes don't have kids. They got 16-hour days.
That's a short day for me.
It's amazing. I'm not. I get it. I love it. It's amazing.
That's an average day for me, isn't it? Yeah.
I
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Lots of credit, man.
Gotta do what you gotta
Lots
do.
of credit.
You messed me up, man. I was going to talk about singing something. I had a good question about, and we
Was
talked
it
about
a
you
good
playing
one?
music. Well, I guess it wasn't good enough because we were gone. Where do you guys think, like, you'd like this to be your day job, your night job, your weekend job, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Are you close to having that happen? Does something? It feels like it. Does something else? Do you have to like have Tyler Sheridan reach out and you end up playing on for a Yellowstone? Like, what has to happen? Do you have to end up being like the cover on a Joe Rogan podcast? Like, when's it? Is it when an Oliver Anthony, that song pops off about Richmond, north of Richmond?
Mhm.
Like, is it something like that you have to do so much that something just happens that you didn't know was going to happen?
That helps it. I mean, that can help it.
Mhm.
But for Jeremy, there's really, like I said, there's an economy around it. Like, we just signed a deal with Warner Chappell Publishing.
What's that mean?
It means that he's now got someone out adminning his publishing. So they go out and find money that needs to be collected when we're played in jukeboxes. Anytime we're spun on a radio station, like, they go out and they find that. But they also find him sync deals. Like, Fox Sports might need bumper music for a NFL Sunday thing. And they're, okay, go to the country music. They find all that stuff for you. And we've made it really, really far without a publishing deal. We've had a lot of shitty offers. But I've been really like hardcore about that, and it's why it's opened a lot of doors nowadays for us, because when we approach a record label or when we approach management or when we approach a producer who wants to do a production deal, the first thing they ask is like, what deals are you in? Who do you have to pay before I get paid? And we're like, nobody. Like, we've never signed a publishing deal because we're not going to give up our stuff in perpetuity. That's crazy. Like, we own all of our own stuff, and the pub deal we just got is fair because Jeremy's earned the right to own his own stuff. And so now it's a team. You know what I mean? But you got to wait a long time for that. And when you're a new up and coming musician, I can't say if when we were 2 years in, someone would have came and offered us, you know, a couple $100,000 or whatever to get their hands on our publishing. I can't say that we
wouldn't have taken
wouldn't have. I mean,
That's a
times
lot
were
of
tough
damn money
back then, man. Like,
Mhm.
and so not that we got that money for this deal, but like it's nice to be in that situation. So what I'm saying is, yes, Yellowstone helps, and yes, like we have an artist on our label called his name's Daniel Martin Moore. He's from Louisville, Kentucky, and he had a song on Suits, the show Suits, and that one song, it's just because Suits is still popular, and Suits has a lot of playlists because they're known for their music, and he has a family, and he doesn't like tour full time. He still makes music. He's very active. He's a world-class musician, but like that one song, because it was had this placement on this show, and so that helps. But what we're doing with Jeremy is when that stuff comes, it might help break the door open, but we don't need it. Like we've gotten to a place where we're like, it's all on our back. We're not investing in lottery tickets anymore.
There you
like,
go.
We're
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You're not waiting on the lottery ticket.
Nope.
This is exciting here. What haven't we talked about today? Because I kind of got scared, man, when he jumped at me when I said about hitting the gym. I was like, "Damn, man!" He's like, "Yeah."
Set the tone.
Have you ever played in one of those where they have to have a cage in front of the stage?
No.
That's crazy.
No.
I kind of felt like that was what
like
was
a
for me.
Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you was in
No,
Roadhouse?
no. It would have been fun if so.
Yeah. That new Roadhouse movie is killer.
That
though,
was
by the
good,
way.
wasn't it?
I loved it.
They threw themselves around at that bar. They tore that place
was
up at
awesome.
the end when the boat.
They
came.
ruined it.
Yeah.
The
They
bar.
ruined it.
Not
The
movie.
bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you love the movie.
I
Love
hate
the
Conor
movie.
McGregor, but man, he was awesome in that movie.
He was great.
You don't hate anybody, do you?
I probably do.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just
Don't
haven't touched
you?
on them. I used to.
I heard a guy say,
I used to.
he says, you don't have to like somebody, but you have to love them. And I thought that was killer because I try not to hate anybody, but it's a human condition.
Guys like Jeremy and I can't live with resentment.
Yeah, I can't afford to be that guy. I can't do that.
Why not?
I just you're a real piece of work. So.
I love it. I love it.
I just it's
Imagine you're writing a song about
do
it.
you want to live that way? Do you want to do you want to stay up at night and think about those people?
No, I've gotten over that in my life.
But you have.
Oh, I have to listen. I think that's how you learn not to be.
It eats you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's on your mind. And what I learned about, I think we're always just trying to like fix our childhood, man, all the time. I think everything about who we are is trying to fix something about our childhood. And once you get a hold of it and realize like, none of that was my fault. I was a kid. None of that's my fault. And then you get to the point where you get here to adulthood and how other people act, that's not my fault either. And because none of that's my fault on how they act, I don't need to hate them. It's unnecessary to hate them. I can like hate some of the shit they do because there's some wacky stuff in this world that you're like, that's crazy that a human's capable of that stuff, right? There's a couple things you go to a category where if it was just me and them and nobody was looking, yeah, I know some things I'd do for some people that do some despicable things. But I just don't hate anybody anymore because what happens is you're allowing them to control your attitude, your mindset, your level of stress on stuff that is completely out of my control, guys. And so there's people like once people are past and gone, there's people in my life could have been not the best humans that they could have been. And what I told a relative of mine years ago, they're still haunted by him. And I said, they did all that shit, whether it was to you or around you or whatever, they did all that shit while they're alive. How in the hell are you going to let them still haunt your life from the grave? Makes no sense. And so, but I think you have to, you have to want to grow and get better and have a better mindset and appreciate life. So I don't, I try not to have judgment on anybody anymore. I try not to. I try my best. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And but now there's people that I'll choose like, hey, you're not going to be in my circle. I'm not going to hang out with you because I see the person you are and the stuff you're doing. But I'm not judging. I'm like, good luck, man. Right?
Isn't that one of the best things about being an adult? Is like you can have boundaries, and we just had a death in our family. My stepdad just passed away a couple weeks ago, and boy, you start to see who's like healthy in a family or who's working on themselves and who's not when real, like when that happens, you know, and I got to tell you, like when we can get to a place through whatever you got, self-help therapy programs, whatever, like when we can get to a place, I love what you said about like overcoming the childhood stuff or just looking at it, trying to fix it, do whatever you got to do to be honest about it. We can start forgiving things that people can't forgive. You know what I mean? And we can start looking at that stuff. And then you get to a place where you can be like, oh my gosh, it's okay that not everyone like me. It's fine. Doesn't matter. It's okay that I not carry this person's anxiety. It's okay. They can act like that. They're not me. I don't have to be responsible for their behavior. They're on their own. They're an adult. I love that about being an adult. I love that about, and we have to do it all the time. We have to be the adult in the room a lot in this business because there are people that, you know, they're
not there. What we're talking about.
They're
guys.
not there.
They're just
not there. And not most people are not there.
Yep, they're not.
You know, and it's like, I go back to, you got to know who you are. And when you know who you are and you know where you're coming from and you know where you want to go, you can start to, I think, give people a lot of grace.
Yeah.
I can't speak for Jeremy, but I'm pretty certain he'd say, I've been given a lot of grace in my life. I've been given a lot of chances. And so I take that seriously. And I try to think about that when somebody's maybe overstepping into my space or whatever, but I'm not afraid to put a boundary up. And if I had this saying about someone in my family who I love dearly and they're having a hard time right now. And it's hard to be around them. And it's like, man, I'm kind of going deep here. But one of the things I love to say is I love you enough to have you be mad at me. And it's like, when I learned that, when I figured that out, when I was like, I can say what I need to say, not in an attacking, hurting way, but to protect myself and also maybe speak some truth or plant a seed to help you because I might have some life experience to share with you that this is going to piss you off and I love you enough and I'm okay with that because not saying it is not, it's not okay. I have to say it. It needs to be said. Like you said about speaking truth makes people uncomfortable.
I think we do, to your point, I've learned being a leader and you have a couple hundred people inside a company. You actually do everyone a disservice if you're not honest with them. And you need to do it the right way in a caring format, but that caring could be speaking to them in an honest way that they don't want to hear and can't hear at the moment. But what I found is most people aren't willing to do that for us. They're not willing to look at us and say, hey, I care enough about you that I'm going to be honest and tell you something that I'm seeing right now. And it's going to help you improve your life a lot more because I know where you've been and where you're going. It's going to help you improve a lot more if you're willing to do this thing. Now, I still love you. I'm going to allow you to be around, but I'm just telling you, like, everybody else, you might love them and think they like you because they're just sitting here appeasing you and allowing you to get down this path. I'm just saying, hey, listen, you're going to continue to struggle if this happens. I guess we all have different experiences with it, but that's what I found. I need people to be honest with me.
I think it's how we show love.
Yeah, but you know, the ones I want to be honest with me are the ones that truly love me, though. Because if they truly love you, they're doing it for good. And some of the toughest truths that I've ever had to give to people was hard for them to hear. And probably the same thing for me, I'm sure.
Y'all need to go to some counseling or something.
That's what we're trying to do with you. That's what we're trying to do with you. We're taking us to the counseling, right? So on the farm, we can start playing some music here soon. I grew up doing a little bit. I didn't grow up on a farm, but I have my moments of. You can tell.
I'm just kidding. It's funny because you do sound like a hillbilly. You can't help it.
You can't. Listen, I tell people, they're like, where are you from? I don't even tell them Cincinnati anymore because if I don't say like Kentucky or Tennessee or West Virginia, they're like, he's lying. But
it makes us way more comfortable, by the way.
Does it?
Oh, yeah.
All right, good. One hillbilly to another, I guess. I don't know. I have my moments of throwing some hay and doing all that farm and gardening stuff. And, well, it's hard work. But I wouldn't change it for the world.
I told my wife the other day, I said, I've been working outside since I've been 17. I ain't never been inside of a building. I ain't never, like I've always been outside, like my whole life. I can't do anything else. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to be inside. I want to be outside. I want to be cold. I want to be hot. I want to be, like That's it.
He's a free spirit from the 60s and 70s, ladies and gentlemen. What's the place you want to make sure you play before this thing's all over? Is there
What is
one
it?
like Red Rocks? What's the place you want to make sure you play before this is all over? You said you're an outside guy, and that's what set off in me.
I think Red Rocks would be a good start.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just want to write music. I love playing music. I love sitting there. I love writing music. Like I was talking to a friend the other day about creating, and we were just talking about like most people don't understand. Like it just goes and goes and goes. It does not stop. It just you see something, you want to take a picture of it. You hear something, you want to write music. You like, it's just this never ending thing. And I swear to God, being alone, playing your guitar, and just singing by yourself is maybe one of the greatest things.
When's the first time that you felt that?
You know, just being a kid. Like being a kid, that's where I went. That's where I always went. That was my time. That's what I did. And yeah, so I've always done that. I've always, you know.
Was there anybody in your life that was a musician?
My dad's a great singer. My uncle is an incredible artist. He graduated at the top of his class from the Cincinnati Art Academy. I've always been surrounded by musicians and artists. My dad's an entertainer, always cutting up family, you know, break out the guitar. And I always liked that. And I don't know. I was just like, you always just want to be your dad, right?
I think it's good if you do. I think it's really
Yeah.
good if you do.
I think it's good if you do, and I think it's good if you like respect your mother, and I think that it's good that if you, yeah, right. Those are two things that.
It means you got good stuff inside. I mean, that's what it means. Like if a guy like you can say that, you want to be like your dad, and you want to respect your mother. I mean, that's really all the world needs.
I've never raised my voice to my mom. I've never, you know, yeah. Same with my dad. I told my dad to shut up one time, and it was at church. And you can get hit in church. Like that's not like you can get hit in the face in church. You know what I'm saying?
You told me something the other day. We were having a daytime cigar, and we were sitting around that fire at your house, and you said something your dad said to you, and I remember, do what you say you're gonna.
My dad would always say, and it's like the easiest thing. He'd say, "Be where you say you're gonna be, and do what you say you're gonna do." And those were his two things, and I'll never forget it.
And you're working hard to live up to them every day today.
I tell you what.
Except saying when he's gonna bring his guitar.
That's why I got one. So that's awesome. When you said you can be hit in church, I was like, I mean, that was good too. Yeah,
It's a real thing.
Yeah, I bet it is, right?
Yeah.
I bet nobody else in church had something to say when that happened. They just shut the hell up.
I mean, everybody's beating everybody in church.
It was the 80s. Things were different in the 80s.
Why don't we? I appreciate you guys coming in, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you too, man.
Is that honest? That felt honest.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man. I do.
Same.
If we probably won't get any time to spend time around each other, but you're probably an awesome friend and a fun ass human to be around. I can feel it already. Right? I'm like, this sumbitch is hilarious.
I am for sure.
You get him having a good time. I bet if you're feeling great when you walk on stage, it's probably one hell of a show. So 29th and 30th, if somebody wants to come see all the greatness that you are, you can go down to Southgate House.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He smiles because he knows he's great, but he's too humble to want to embrace it. I know.
No.
They can come see it. It's going to be a good show.
100%.
29th and 30th. And then what's after that? Like, can people see you locally at any time, or is it just kind of, how's that go down?
It's rare. So he just played a fundraiser in August for our 501c3, and that's the last local show he's played. So this will be the last one of the year. We don't have anything on the books yet. He's local about twice a year at the most. We try not to wear our crowd out, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a big event. That's why we're doing 2 nights at Southgate House. You get Friday nights like a small acoustic set, and then you get the big band show on Saturday night. And then we don't have anything on the books for 25. something will come. You know, we have a lot of really good clubs around here that are supportive of us, but we're always looking for something different.
I grew up here playing music, so I don't want to play music here. I want to go somewhere. I want to go to another city.
You're going to a lot of them, and you've been to a lot of them. So, congrats. I hope 2025. It's a hell of a team. Y'all got a good team. There's a lot more people behind you. I think. Wish you all the success in 25. Put all that COVID bullshit behind us and get on with it. Right? Get on with it. I think. Somebody I am sad that like a John Prine. I think he died during COVID. I think he did. Right? I think.
Right at the tip.
Right around then.
Yeah.
I'm a guy who hasn't always lived up to. Y'all are laughing about something, right? I know what you said. I know. So we could have, man. If this was Howard Stern, boy, we'd have turned that up, right? But I'm that guy who hasn't always taken time to go see the person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when people pass like that, it's like, man, that was on my mind to go see that guy. Mm-hmm. You know,
Yeah.
I think he was a Western Kentucky guy or something, wasn't he?
He's from Chicago.
Is he?
I got to see John at the Taft, and it was seriously like a spiritual experience. I'm not lying. Like, something magical happened. And my buddy Terry said, Jeremy, always stay to the end of the show. And you like learn things like that. Always go to the show. Always go see Willie Nelson, you know, and always stay to the end. And yeah.
I think that's a great place to end it. Stay to the end of the show, folks. Thank you, guys. We'll play a couple songs. This is going to be fun. He's going to make this guitar sound like it's never sounded before. When I first picked up a guitar all these years ago, you know, I played long enough to get the calluses in my fingers, and then I just didn't keep playing a lot more. Son of a bitch. My mom can play piano great.
Can't she?
She tried it at 6 and 7, 8 years old. She was trying to make me sit down and play the piano, and I didn't do it. I pissed off at myself now that I didn't. So
I wish I'd have learned the piano.
Man,
I wish I'd have learned
how
it.
dumb was I not to do that? To a lady who plays piano in church and was good.
It's not too late. Is it too late? Is she passed?
No, she's an awesome lady. I just saw her yesterday. I don't see her much, but I drove out and saw her yesterday.
I'd say things worked out. Looks like you got a pretty good thing going.
Guys,
This motherfucker.
This
This
is-
that shitty grin.
this is just the fucking beginning.
Love it.
This is just the beginning.
I see, like I said, I called my buddy and we saw what's going on. I'm like, man, these guys have it. Like, it's really cool. It's a really neat thing you're doing here.
Just the beginning.
Yeah.
And so I think
Wonderful.
if we're going to do something, maybe it's the third part. If we're going to do something, do it the absolute best I possibly effing can. Right? And everybody, man, how'd you come up with this? I just thought about it, and so I did it. So many people, man, it dies at the thought. So kudos to you guys for doing this. I'm excited to see it, man. One day I'll see a show, and it'll be like 3,000 people in there, and another 3,000 battling to get in, and you guys will be like, he don't get in, man. He ain't cool enough. So
Not on the list.
I know. I get it. I know. I'll be from the outside. You better play.
Dave gets a ticket.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. You better be play loud enough so I can hear from outside, damn it.
I'll let you in.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Let's go play some music. Thank you.
Thank you.